Hugh Freeze said it multiple times. The expectations for Auburn football, the college football playoffs.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day, or maybe your second listen. This is a reaction show as Hugh Freeze just got done talking here at SEC Media Days. Zac Blackerby, Darrell Dapprich here with you. He said several things, and we'll touch on one of the things that I actually think is pretty important from a depth chart standpoint. We'll touch on that later. But the overarching theme that he kept referring to, some of it he went out of his way to bring it up. Some of it was just kind of, it made sense to answer the question. But he said multiple times he expects Auburn to be in the discussion at the end of the season when you talk about the college football playoff.
He is not shying away from expectations.
Yeah,
he is
right.
Not running and hiding. He feels that strongly about this roster.
Yes.
And is actually basking in it, is loving it, is embracing it and saying, this is where we are. We're proclaiming it. We expect to be in the college football playoff conversation. We expect some things that didn't go our way last year to go our way. Mm-hmm. And he feels like this roster, retention and additions are so significant that there should be marked improvements.
Yeah. Now, I think there are different questions to ask with this, like what exactly does that mean? Like he's not saying it's playoff or bust. But you know, if Auburn were to go 9-3 and perhaps lose the Iron Bowl, like I still think most people would take that. But like that would be a discussion where you're 9-2 going into the last week of the season, where you're like, oh, whoever wins the Iron Bowl, either you get a shot to go Atlanta, or if those have already been set up, you don't even have to play the game in Atlanta. You go to the college football playoff. Like that, I think that might be part of it. But hey, he might say, hey, no, we deserve a shot at this.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking if Auburn goes into the Iron Bowl at 9-2 and Alabama is 10-1 or 9-2, they could say the word that comes to mind is, okay, this is an extension of the college football playoff because this is in essence an elimination game.
Yeah.
Loser's not going to be considered for the college football playoff. Winner most likely gets in. That's where you want to be. You want to be in the conversation. You want to be front and center with Auburn being synonymous with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it. Like I am begging for Auburn to play a relevant game in November again. Like that's just something that I've wanted for a long time. But like, let's say you take care of your road games, which I think is a big ask, and you lose to Georgia, and then you take care of the games that you're supposed to, which is way easier said than done. But all of a sudden, like if you're in that situation, every game you play after the end of October, so that'd be Kentucky at home, at Vandy, Mercer at home, and at Bama, like all of a sudden you are in that discussion because the topics would be like, oh, Auburn has only done this. From the negative standpoint, maybe they've only lost 1 or 2 games at that point, and the rest of their schedule is manageable with the exception of Alabama. Like, I think there's going to be some people that jump on him for saying like the expectations to be in the college football playoff discussion. But like, I think if that happens, which isn't the craziest thing, you are in the playoff discussion in November.
There's precedents of other schools that aren't traditional powers like Auburn that did that in 2 years. Do you remember how we were talking about how bad Missouri was 2 years ago?
Sure.
Last year, they were in the college football playoff conversation.
Or let's look at another one. Texas A&M.
Yes.
Last year was in the college football playoff discussion. They had to take care of business, and they didn't. But they lost at Auburn.
They were still being talked about, and that's what you want. You want that publicity. You want that topic coming up. And I believe that also Auburn knows how this schedule is setting up.
You have to.
You have to. And you combine roster, and let's just say this too. I don't believe that anybody on that staff believes that they could be snake bit 2 years in a row with some of the things that happened to them last year either.
I mean, some pretty fluky stuff. I think we all agree on that.
So the law of averages tells you that maybe you get that turnaround. And then some of that was special teams. They feel good about that.
Yeah, he was asked about that. Just Justin Ferguson asked that question. And
so, I mean, talent can overcome a lot of deficiencies, but I think he feels like they've got those deficiencies cleaned up. They said they did an introspective thing about what's going on. They feel like they've addressed some of that. Did you hear him talk about how they've changed some schemes and they've changed some things they didn't add more, they subtracted some. They gave less to be more effective. So I think they've addressed every aspect and every box they've had to check to show that improvement.
Yeah, I think so. And so now you've got to execute, and you got to hope that, he said the ball bounced a few ways against them last year. It's got to bounce their way this year. I'm sure that's going to be part of it. I want to talk about the question you asked in regards to personnel, because it might be different this year. And that's a good thing. It's needed. And I'm a little surprised by the answer. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time's the best place to buy tickets, Darrell.
And there's a lot of stuff to buy tickets for this weekend.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. Absolutely. And look, it's summertime, so there's concerts all over the place. And of course, MLB's in full swing as well. So Game Time's the best place to buy tickets, especially last minute tickets. You can save up to 60% off with killer last minute deals. So take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem with code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. You asked Coach Freeze about the usage of tight ends and a lot of 11 and 12 personnel over the last few seasons. You got so many receivers, and I think tight end is one of the thinner groups on the team when it comes to experience. And his answer surprised me a little bit, but he didn't shy away from it.
Really, the end of the question, I didn't want to phrase it the way I did. I said, because of the elite receivers you have, will you not utilize the tight end as much? Meaning, he's not going to get on the field. And I just meant to focus on the receiving part.
Yeah.
But even though I said that, he said, no, he won't. He basically just said, nope, we're not going to. We're going to change personnel packages. We're going to do more 10 personnel and utilize the receivers.
Yeah, so 10 personnel is one running back, no tight end. So that means you got 4 receivers on the field. And so all of a sudden, like we've talked about this in hypotheticals, but now it gets a little bit more real, where you can talk about a formation where you have a running back next to you, whether it's Damari or Jeremiah, Darrell, Omar, Alvin, doesn't matter who it is. And your outside guys, Cam Coleman, Horatio Fields, and it's your 2 slot guys, Eric Singleton and Malcolm Simmons. That's disgusting.
And I want to just say this too. I think when we were talking yesterday, Jake Crane made a good point. The last thing I think Auburn needs to do, and I'm not a coach, but is to put Singleton and Cam Coleman on the same side. I would separate them so that when you're trying to do any kind of shading or you're trying to double, you can't do that. And if they do that and keep Singleton on one side, Cam on the other, and have Fields and have Simmons, who are you going to cover? Who are you going to cover? And if he gets time to throw the football, you've got 4 weapons. Somebody is going to be – I can tell you right now, I am not Bobby Bowden, and I can tell you someone's going to be open.
Yeah, and some of the cases, it's going to be the handoff on the RPO. And I don't care that we lost Jarquez Hunter. If nobody touches any college running back for 5 yards, Auburn's going to win.
Absolutely. They start walking those safeties back or go too high with the safeties to take Singleton and Cam Coleman over the top.
Goodness
Cobb,
gracious.
Robinson, or Austin will not get touched, like you said, till 5 or 6 yards. And that's
assuming the guys up front do their job, which
I assume they will.
Up front today for sure. We'll talk more about what players have said about the O-line on tomorrow's edition of the show. He did hint at offensive line depth, and the way he phrased it was he talked about getting Chaplin on the left side and then Mason Murphy on the right side, and then he said, and we've got 2 tall behind them that could kind of be interchangeable. I've been billing it as a Mason Murphy versus 2 tall Miller battle. Based off of the way he worded that, it sounds like that's a decided deal.
Yeah, and that's what we've been hearing. I mean, we've been hearing that for about a month and a half. And I think what kind of threw me for a loop on that was that I saw a lot of places that had Murphy projected as a guard. But who are you going to unseat there? Not Wade, not Jeremiah Wright. And you went out and got a tackle, but he could play guard. He can play both. But now you feel like you have your right tackle. Now you feel like you have your left tackle, and you feel like you have depth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he said Tyler Johnson by name, but I've heard them say good things about him. And then, Broderick Scholl is a guy that I'm high on as a true freshman. So, I mean, all of a sudden you've got like 4 or 5 tackles that it's like, wow, Okay.
Yep.
I think they like Ty Buster too. Ty Buster.
They like
got
Ty
reps at
Buster a
tackle
lot. And Ty
the
Buster
spring.
in the Under Armour game was absolutely shutting down elite edge rushers.
There you go.
So, and of course, from the guard position, we like DeAndre Carter. We like Dylan Senda as a backup center. So there's a lot to like there about depth along the offensive line.
Surprised that he only got one question about the golf stuff. It was at the very end.
He shut it down pretty quick,
yeah,
too.
And who asked it, Darrell?
Was it AL.com?
It was Goodman, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
From AL.com.
Yeah.
Now, he phrased it with the, like, are you tired of being asked about the golf questions? And it's like,
while I'm asking the golf question.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Like, we almost did it. We almost went the whole time with us, like, not wasting a question. And it's like, goodness, I was almost about to be really, really proud of us.
Bottom line was, from what I heard from John Cohen yesterday and from what Hugh Freeze says, nothing that he does when he's playing golf is absolutely taking away from his time on the trail, talking to recruits, or doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm not
Remember,
worried about
Zach,
that.
patience is not a sign of inactivity.
Ooh. I was going to say, is that a Cohenism? But Freeze said it first.
Freeze said it first, and then Cohen liked it and said it. Now I'm going to put it,
That's right. So all in all, like I think the overall thing is there's no more hiding behind a roster. There's no more hiding behind time. It's the expectation is for Auburn football to be in the college football playoff discussion at the end of the year. And great. Let's don't hide behind anymore. Let's go all in. As soon as he was hired, the discussion was this is going to be a 3-year build. This is a 3-year deal. Well, here we go. All the chips are pushed to the middle of the table, and I think that's what's best for Auburn right now.
At Ole Miss, he went 9-3 his third year and beat Alabama. That's when you started to see the upward trajectory. Liberty, he won quick. A little different scenario. So this year is the demarcation line, I think, for him.
Yeah, no question. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Follow me on X, DAP6410, and then just keep checking all of our socials because we're putting up a lot of content on YouTube.
Yes.
And wherever you get your podcasts.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. And if you're tuned in on audio, please subscribe and leave us a review. Helps the show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.